All right, so this is going to be a review of Argylle. Just came out, I believe, last weekend. It's directed by Matthew Vaughn. Um, this movie's not getting good reviews from pretty much anywhere. I don't know what the number is on here for the Metascore, but I know it's in the red and it deserves it. This movie sucks so bad. At a certain point, it's bad reveals. I mean, the really big reveal we'll talk about. I'm probably gonna spoil it. It's terrible. This is some really atrocious writing here. I was laughing in the theater. I couldn't believe that they decided to do this with the story. But let's just get into it. So, Ellie Conway, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, she writes these really popular espionage books or spy books about this badass spy, Argylle, played by Henry Cavill in this. Um, and they're really popular and things like that. She does these like Q&As and things, and people have taken note that her books are kind of accurate to certain real world things, things that have happened or will happen by the time she is done writing the books and things like that. So because of that, she gets targeted by the villains in this. They have this secret organization that's doing shadowy things, just like in her books. So they're going after her, and they end up attacking her on a train. She ends up getting saved by Aiden, played by Sam Rockwell, and he explains to her that, hey, they're after you because they believe that the final chapter in your book will lead them to this master. What was it? The master drive or something. They're looking for the master file. They're looking for a file that has all the evidence of all the shady stuff that they've been doing that a hacker got. Like I said, this is not a good movie, but we got some good stuff here. The actors, just about all of them, are giving really good performance. Other than Dua Lipa, who's barely in this movie. It's very much a cameo. She has a few lines, I think, in the beginning, and then you see her a couple times after that, but not really much there. So I can't really judge her acting too much. I guess she was all right. But I think the main ones that really are trying to carry this are Sam Rockwell, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Henry Cavill. I think that Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell, I think they do a good job with these characters, and I do think they have some really good chemistry. There's some fun moments with the two. The fight scene on the train, which was fun. I think all the action scenes in here are well choreographed and are well done. But they go on for way too long. That's the thing. But I think they did a good job. And the Argylle, the badass spy that Henry Cavill plays, I think he did a good job with that too. And he also pops in every now and then. There's a reason for that. And he's talking to Ellie. She thinks she's going crazy, and I think that works. And I like the sequence with Dua Lipa and stuff like that, where you see the fictional version of what Argylle is doing, but that cuts back and forth with the real world, and so that works too. So, man, it sucks because there are some redeeming qualities here, but it's not enough to redeem just how badly written this thing is. So let's get into it. So it starts off with a somewhat interesting, premise, and you got Ellie writing these books about spies and stuff like that, and then she gets thrown into a real spy situation, real espionage, and having to look at actual people dying around her and things like that. And she associates the real world espionage stuff with her fictional character, so she's starting to see him and things like that. I think it's stupid to go after a book writer because her book will maybe predict the real world shit that's going on with your secret organization. I think that's dumb, but it does get explained, even if the explanation is really bad and ruins like pretty much everything else in the movie. Where it really falls apart is the reveals, and especially the big one. So her parents, she goes to see her parents. She escapes from Aiden because she doesn't trust him at one point. This is spoilers, by the way. We're in spoilers at this point because I gotta talk about this. I at least have to get my thoughts out there about this because I was laughing hard when it got revealed. So she goes to see her mom. You saw her mom earlier. Her mom's like helping her out with her new book or whatever. The chapter, you have to do something with the final chapter, whatever. Her dad comes in, and her dad turns out to be Bryan Cranston, played by Bryan Cranston, the villain in this. So the villain is her dad. You're like, wait, what's going on? So the mom pulls the gun on her. So Aiden, Sam Rockwell's character, he ends up shooting the mom and having this thing with the dad. And it's like, okay, so the parents are the villains in this, That's weird. How do you explain this? So they go to see Samuel Jackson's character, who I guess is the former CIA head or something like somebody important. And he's like, oh, well, your parents aren't really your parents, right? So Bryan Cranston and the mom character, uh, they they found her when she had lost her memories or whatever in the hospital, and like convinced her that they were her parents, and used a computer, like a laptop, to brainwash her into thinking things and things like that, and even encouraged her to write the books in the first place about the things that she actually done. The Argylle books, Argylle is actually Argylle because her real name is like Rachel Kyle or something. And so she actually is Argylle essentially because she used to be that badass spy that she's now writing about in her books. It is nonsense. It's nonsense. I was like, come on. The first thing I think of is, wow, that is an elaborate fucking plan. You're gonna pretend to be this woman's parents. You're gonna risk, because she doesn't live with him or anything like that. She's just living by herself. She's off doing whatever. She can go wherever, do whatever. You're risking your information, even though it's a fictionalized version, I guess, in her books. You're risking personal stuff about your secret organization getting out through the books, which are popular books. You're risking her getting her memories back and turning on you, or exposing you, or whatever's going on there. You're doing all that for 5 years. You're devoting all that time, resources, whatever. Um, on the off chance that she writes where your master file might be in the final chapter of her last book, it's fucking nonsense. It's nonsense. And it also makes things that happened earlier on not make as much sense. So earlier on, she was seeing Argylle in Sam Rockwell's character, Aiden. Even though Aiden is not Argylle, she's Argylle. Aiden is actually the John Cena character that you see in the Argylle sequences. So that doesn't make sense now. And then also Argylle danced and did all this with Dua Lipa, and even did this little dance that Aiden and Ellie do at one point. And so it's like, wait a minute. So she's Argylle. Did she dance with Dua Lipa there? Because you do see the real life version of them sitting at the table, that coffee shop or whatever, with Dua Lipa. So it's like, okay, what? What was going on there? There's so many questions now. And the thing about the movie, not only do the action scenes go on too long, because of the shitty reveals, really, because there's a couple of them, these actors have to give these terrible lines, just exposition, just explaining things, or explaining the reveal, explaining certain details and stuff like that. And it's terrible, man. I felt so bad. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, some of the things that these people have to say. I mean, Argylle is Argylle. It's like, it's ridiculous. Anybody would have read this and been like, this needs something. We need to do more drafts or something. This needs to be cleaned up because this is terrible. I was in that theater laughing my ass off, man. It's so bad. It's so bad. You got Samuel Jackson here, Bryan Cranston, Sam Rockwell, Bryce Dallas Howard. You got names in this bitch giving these terrible fucking lines, explaining this nonsense. It is shit. It's so shitty. Like I said, I mean, it's got its moments here and there, but it gets really bad at a certain point. It really does, with all these reveals and having to sit here and explain details of them. I'm missing certain details. I'm getting other details, but it's atrocious at a certain point, man. I didn't even say the CGI is really bad too. At first, I thought it was a stylistic choice for the Argylle stuff, because that stuff's supposed to be fake anyway. But even the real world stuff, with some of the stuff Sam Rockwell's doing, they're like, okay. And then the cat, oh my god, that cat is nightmare fuel when it starts moving. I was like, it really is, man. They should have ditched that fucking cat. But yeah, this is embarrassing, and this is it's a contender for worst of the year, even this early on, and I think this will definitely make my list. So I'm gonna give it my lowest rating. I'm giving it complete shit. This is awful. Some of the worst writing I've seen, probably in years. This is one of the worst movies, maybe of the last few years, at least for me. It just, I was in that theater, just laughing. I didn't know what else to do. I mean, it was embarrassing. I was sitting there. I was embarrassed for everybody in it. I was embarrassed to be there. I was like, man, some of these lines that these people were saying, man, he makes Darth Vader look like Mary Poppins and stuff like that. It's like, this is just really bad. So anyway, that's Argylle. Complete shit. I don't know how this kind of thing gets made in this state, but Whatever. That's it. We're done.